Hello, I'm Thomas Beck from WMPA Channel 5. We are at the site of the old Milton Union High School today, where we're about to witness the removal of the Cornerstone. The Milton Union High School, as you know, was built in 1938. There's a Cornerstone located here at the corner of the building, of course, and I talked to Dr. Jenny Ramel prior to this event, no one has a record of what was actually put inside this time capsule. Now, the goal today is simply to remove the capsule. It is not going to be opened here on location, but rather it will be opened up on February 9th at a Milton Union Boys Basketball Game against Franklin Monroe. That night also happens to be the Milton Union Hall of Fame inductions.
They got the Cornerstone busted.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably loosened it up or they just
they sold it around. I'd like to have that. That's the year I was born.
Yeah, I don't know.
www.miltonunion.k12.oh.us.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. That's what it is.
School board tears it down. All the buildings for 6 months. I think it is.
There would have been a lot of people.
If my math is correct, this building has served many generations over a period of 74 years. And by being here today to recover this Cornerstone, it's a way of us to show honor to this building and to honor all of those that have come through the halls of this building. And you know, it's a sad day for all of us that the building is coming down, but as I'll explain, there really wasn't a whole lot of choice. We made, and when I say we, I should say Dr. Ramel made an effort for over a year to try and find someone that would be willing to buy this building and repurpose it that would be acceptable to the community and acceptable to the school. And there simply was no interest. And part of the problem is with all of the new building standards, to repurpose this building and bring it up to code, air condition it, make it available for technology, the cost would exceed the cost of building a new building. And that's the reason it's coming down. The other option was, well, just keep the building here and let's use the gym or maybe use little bits and pieces of it for the school. But the bottom line on that was it would cost us $300,000 a year just to maintain this building for limited use. And with what the state has done with support of the schools, we just couldn't justify spending that kind of money to keep the building standing for limited purposes. So this was our only alternative. Just a couple pieces of information that many of you may know. We are preserving the bulldog that's within the fence, and that's going to be moved to the area in front of the Lowry Center. The benches are going to be saved. These light posts are going to be saved. And yesterday, our workmen succeeded in removing the bulldog section of the gymnasium floor. And that's being preserved. It may need a little reconditioning, but it will go on the wall in the entrance, the athletic entrance to the new building. It is our understanding, and we're relying totally on Dick Markley and his information that he has given us, that there is a time capsule located behind the Cornerstone. Now, we're hoping this is not one of those Geraldo Rivera events where you're opening a safe and there's nothing there. So, Dick, you're really on the line for this. But assuming there is a time capsule there, we are planning to open that time capsule on February 9th at the boys basketball game. Is it going to be at halftime or between the two games?
Halftime.
At halftime. So those of you that have that interest, join us for that time capsule opening, and it'll be exciting to see what's there. I think we've all heard about bricks. The bricks, and I think primarily from the original section of the building, are going to be removed by the demolition contractor, and they will be placed on pallets down at the south corner there outside the gates. And as many bricks as you want will be available. And Mike back there shaking his head, he's the foreman for the excavator, and he's promised us that he'll never let the brick supply go dry. They'll always be there. So there'll be plenty of bricks available. Dr. Ramel, why don't you come up and add to what I've said, please?
You know, this is sad. I mean, it is sad that it's coming down, but I'll tell you, I feel so good in the fact that I know we have spent so much time. We've contacted every hospital, every college, every university, any local businesses, people from up New Bremen. We have contacted everybody we possibly could that we thought may have an interest in the building. And one of the first things they say is, it's too large, it's over 100,000 square feet, they don't know what to do with all that. They're concerned, some of them were concerned that what's inside it, because it's such an old building. Well, what Larry didn't tell you, when we were cutting up the floor, we found out that that's 2 layers thick and then fastened to concrete. I mean, and we did not know that the windows had asbestos in it. There's so much we didn't know about the building, and thank heavens, if we had tried to renovate instead of build, I can't imagine the cost of it. So, yeah, is it sad? It is, but I can tell you, we just had no one that expressed any interest whatsoever. It's sure served its purpose.
Before the demolition starts, and the demolition, looking at Mike, is going to probably start at the end of this week or the first of next week. And when I say demolition, I'm saying actually tearing the building down. They've been working in here for months now, removing the asbestos. So, you know, any floor tile, any piece of pipe insulation, anything that had asbestos in it has been removed. And that has to be done prior to the actual tearing the building down. So, and as Jenny mentioned, we discovered as they started to do the asbestos analysis, there was much more asbestos in here than anybody knew. And so therefore the cost to remove it was more than we expected. So that's all part of the project. Any questions or comments before we ask you to move back behind the plastic fence and we begin removal? We're glad you all joined us today for this event. Not only is it a sad event because the school's coming down, but also look at it as a joyous event in the new facility we have that allow us to move forward and do so much more for our students. Thanks for joining us today.
A little memorial seat, so this worked out good.
I'm taking one home and gonna get one for the cable station.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, Colin, let me set this off to the side. There you go. It's got a lot of concrete on it.
Let's do it again. to be ready to open up the 1938 time capsule that was extracted from the Cornerstone of the old high school about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I want to introduce who we have up here that's going to assist in this process. We have Superintendent Jenny Rattle, we have Shelley Swigert, board member, Sam Huffman, board member, Chuck Klein, treasurer, Dick Martley, one of our youngsters that was around when the high school was built, Rachel Ann Minnick Server, who also has some memories of when the high school was built. Now, since we're opening a time capsule, we're going to be kind of talking about history and memory. But before we do that, we need to consider the bright future that Milton Union schools have. Look at this building. We have one of the best K-12 complexes in the state of Ohio. Absolutely. We have an outstanding staff. And we have an outstanding student body, and even more importantly, we have a community that supports our athletics, supports our academics, and supports our entire school system, and we thank you for that. We know the past couple of weeks has been somewhat traumatic for some of us older folks that have memories attached to the old high school. But we got to remember, a lot of new memories are being made right now in this building. But while we're looking forward to the future and we have this bright future, we're not forgetting our history and we're not forgetting our past. And doing this opening of the box tonight is part of that history. But let me tell you what else we're doing to restore or try to retain some of our history. If you haven't seen the memory wall outside here, that starts with the very first graduate of Milton High School or Milton Union High School and goes all the way through to the current graduates. Take a look at it. There's history right there on that wall. We have preserved the old bulldog from the floor in the old high school that will be mounted on the wall in the entryway here. We have rescued, preserved the roof cupola over the entrance to the old high school, and that's being preserved, and we're also recovering some of the old stonework to the front entrance to the high school, and before too long we hope to be able to build an entrance to the Memorial Stadium that will include the cupola and some of that stonework. So be thinking about that as part of our future. Also, many of you have a memento from the high school that you got a brick. The demolition contractor told us that he would give us 2,500 bricks, and as of Friday he said he's taken 15,000 bricks out there. So we know a lot of you that's important to you. Is there anything I'm forgetting about the history? Yeah, some of the stonework are the pillars. We thought maybe they were hollow, but they're not. They're solid, and those are going to be recovered. Okay, well, let's get on with this. What we're going to do is we're going to open the box. We're going to ask Mr. Barkley and Rachel Ann to try and identify some of these things as we open them. And then we've got a camera here that will zoom in on them, so hopefully you can see them on this board. All right, what we've discovered is that the time capsule was not sealed. It's in a copper box, but we were surprised to find it not sealed. So unfortunately what we've discovered is that we've had some moisture that's penetrated it, and it's gotten into some of the paper materials. So I'm going to put the microphone here in front of these folks and ask them to describe the articles they're finding.
The first document we have here is from the West Milton Civic Club, dated June 21st, 1938. It describes who its officers are and were throughout the year 1925 through 1938. And let's see. It just talks about how this document was submitted for the Cornerstone on June 21st, 1938. There's really not much detail on that.
Nick, you want to describe what you got there?
Some of this is very, very delicate. It's got some water in it over the years, 74 of those years really. The Milton Union Board of Education, C.E. Miles, President, Herb Donor, Vice President, H.K. Lair, Clerk Treasurer. Officers, W.L. Dickey, A.G. Dahm, these are names that if you're a little older you'll recognize them. S.C. Frank, J.T. Young, Harold Penny. Harold Penny was captain of the football team, and then he had a son and a grandson that were captains of our football teams. R.D. Baker, W.A. Markley, that's my great uncle. Dick Kress, Richard Kress. Leland Dexter, Levi Broomball, and R.L. Aldridge. Those are names from old-time West Milton. What do you have, Rachel?
West Milton record, and it tells about who all was on the school boards there. Dr. Newhaven was the principal. Dr. Winkler was the superintendent, and Mr. Lair, Mr. Donor, and Mr. Cope, and somebody, and Herbert Donor. Now I want to tell you one thing. They never allowed dancing in the school, and when I was a junior, some of these guys were on the school board, and we went out in the cornfield and picked out a couple men that was on the school board and asked them if they would allow dancing in the school. They wouldn't leave us in the meeting until 12 o'clock. We were there until 12 o'clock. So then Mr. Lair said, well, two of them didn't show up. So he said, we're just going to make it from now on to eternity. So 2 men was there and 3 didn't show up.
What I like about this paper is that it only costs 5 cents. The Roxy Theater had the film on Life Begins at 40. So if you're not there yet, you've got something to look forward to.
I thought you said life begins at 8.
Life does begin at 8.
And this one has got some of the men in the Masonic Lodge. Their pictures are in here. Wilbur Sando had potato spray. Then Victoria Postring did some of that. Yeah, Milton Federal and Dickey's Cleaners, Stetson Sanders Funeral Home, Citizens National Bank.
I've got a business card here from Bird's Restaurant. It says good food, special Sunday dinners, and the phone number is 109. That's it. There's a Uncle Joe's Sunshine Society, looked like some kind of club maybe. And the dues were a pleasant smile, the grip was the glad hand, the test was clean hands and a pure heart. The hope was to do your work and to live your life and to be happy so that you can make others happy.
This one is the early drawings of the new school building, right here, the one that's gone.
There's a pretty nicely preserved little booklet here called The Genealogy of the Hoffmans.
And then we did have a Roxbury Theater here, and the women are like that, over the wall, Island of the Skies, Bluebird 8, White, and you can go to these shows on Saturday for just how much? A quarter.
Here's a little description that says Milton Union High School, 1883 through 1938. And down at the bottom it has how much it cost to build that building. The building was financed by a bond issue of $135,000 and a government grant of $110,000 under what was known as the Public Parks, I think that's it, Parks, the Public Parks Administration. And there's also a program here from the Cornerstone laying that was printed, that was by the Grand Lodge Free and Accepted Masons of Ohio. And it has listed all the different players. We also have a document here that has a list of, looks like 42 individuals that contributed to the laying of the Cornerstone, all the way from different groups such as West Milton United Church of Christ, Friends Living, Ludlow Falls, and just various groups. There's a pin here that you can tell water got into this, and it's all rusted. We don't know what that is. Larry has a coin of some sort. Can you tell what that is?
Yeah. We have an irregularly shaped coin that the inscriptions on it aren't real clear. We'll probably have to get that under a stereo microscope and look at that. We'll get the readings off, the information off of that, and relay that to you. But once we're done here, we're going to take this table out into the entryway, and we're going to put these items in a showcase out there. So feel free to go out and look at them during after the game's over, and they'll be out there on display for a while. So we want to give everybody as much opportunity as they can to take a look at them.
Just one more thing that was kind of noteworthy. There's a Union Pacific pass. It looks like a train pass, the Panama Pacific through Yellowstone National Park, and it was the party of Ralph Spittler and party.
On here we have John Arlen was the eye doctor here in town, Roy Miller's funeral home, Hale Funeral Home, and the picture of the new school that's going to be built.
Okay, I think we're out of time. Thank you for joining us to celebrate our history. Continue to help us celebrate our future. Thank you.